I haven't posted anything on my personal blog in a while, so I figured I would. And I got a good one. I've thought about this. I'm not sure I've ever referenced it. Maybe I have, maybe not, but this is a cool story. Back in Los Angeles, circa 2011, 2012, pre-service dog days, they used to have a program in LA where if you went to the Department of Social Service and applied for cash aid or general relief, while you're waiting for the application to clear, you can get a hotel voucher and go stay in a cheap crack hotel while you're waiting. And there was a trick where you could apply for cash aid and then wait till right before you're about to get it and cancel your application, then reapply. You never get your money, but I'm no crackhead. I don't give a fuck. It was $220 a month. $220 a month versus a place to live. No contest. No contest. So I just skipped the money, and they're like, you realize if you don't sign this form, you're going to get cash tomorrow. You're going to get a couple $100 cash tomorrow. No, cancel it. Spend 2 days homeless, come back. I'll reapply and get another hotel voucher. Okay. So I got real familiar with a lot of the scandalous hotels in South Bay, LA. And one of them was famous. Like, I'd have to look up the rapper's name, but some rapper got shot, and I was on the block. It's Vermont and El Segundo, the Executive Inn and Suites. And it is historic. The straight gang hood in Gardena. They're real strict when you're on a GR voucher. You're not supposed to have roommates. You're not supposed to do anything. No one can come to your room, all this. But rules are meant to be broken. And I run my mouth constantly in life trying to cut an edge. But this time it works the other way. The rules are you get there and you have to activate the voucher that day or the voucher doesn't count. They are supposed to have rooms available, but it's a crack hotel and they play loose with that sometimes. And sometimes they'll rent a hotel room to someone figuring they'll be in there an hour or two and then leave, and then they don't leave. And, well, they rented the room, so what are you going to do? So, a complete stranger that I've never met in my life, a girl, is in the lobby when I get home one night. And this was winterish. It got dark pretty early. It's only 6, 7 o'clock. Like, she wasn't too late, but she didn't go straight from the DPSS to the hotel, which she should have done. She probably stopped and got something to eat or whatever. But they didn't have a room, but she had a valid voucher. And if they start the voucher that day, she gets 2 weeks of housing. But if they don't start it that day, she gets nothing and is screwed. And there was no place to put her, and she's talking to them, and I come in and do my check-in, and I'm about to leave. And the security guard that bullied me and fucking, like, would barge into my room in the morning and shit to wake me up and throw me out. And he wasn't supposed to do that because I was on the disabled list. The rule stickler, he came up with an interesting idea. He was like, well, we can take her hotel voucher and start her and give her a room if we put her in your room. This is a complete stranger. And here's another interesting fact. The hotel was king beds. Single king beds. So there's one bed in the room. And they come up with the idea of putting a strange girl in my room, in my bed. I am not being facetious. This is not how it's supposed to work. This is scandalous as fuck. But she was a little skinny, scrawny thing. I mean, super small. Like under 100 pounds, for sure. Probably a tweaker bitch. But I was tired, and I've gone out and done, this was early in the sign flying days. I wasn't quite a pro yet. I was decent, I'd go fly a sign, but I just did it right there. If you look at on a map, I went on El Segundo. I just went east a block to the freeway and stood on the ramp there and got money together for some beer and a Chinese plate dinner and came back with that, and that took all day. I wasn't an expert. I didn't know all my hoods, and I didn't know which rich neighborhoods would give a lot of money and stuff like that. You hanging out in El Segundo trying to get money is not... It's a stupid idea. But anyway, I wasn't an expert yet, and I was pretty poor. So I had a long, hard day, and probably half sunburnt, and I wasn't planning on any of this. So I agreed to everything, get up there, and I'd sit there and eat my dinner and drink my beer and watch TV, big tube TV, like a 28-inch tube, the old style TV. And this was the days I had the Xbox and shit. So I plugged up the Xbox and I had internet. I was the only one in the whole place that had internet because I had one of those cell tower things. And the mobile hotspot. And she was there like 3 days with me. And we'd sleep in the same bed together. But it's a huge king bed. Like, we were on the opposite side of the bed. And I was really hold off, like, distance from her. Like, I didn't flirt with her or anything. And she wasn't very extremely attractive or anything, but she was fuckable. I love her. And it's an important life lesson too. One of the days, like the third day, I come back in and I'm excited because this is, I believe it was Advanced Warfare. It was one of the Call of Duties. Come to think of it, a little later in 2012. This is like post-accident. The GR Hotel thing I did that a lot. I think this was post-accident, post-first service dog. It was in the gap between the first and the second service dog. So I wasn't fat yet, but I was injured. I think. No? Yeah. Because after the accident, I had the Xbox and the generator and stuff at camp. And that's where I had that. No, I had in the office that I was at before, I had the mobile hotspot too. I'm not 100% sure. I have to plot it out a little more, but it was Advanced Warfare. You can look up the mech suit enhanced movement Call of Duty, first one of those. You can look that up, and it wasn't the original launch of the game, but it was one of the DLCs. I think the first DLC, and that means a new zombies map. Or they didn't have full-fledged zombies in the initial release. There was just a little side quest where you can get like a one zombie encounter. They didn't have round-based zombies in the initial release, but the DLC did have round-based zombies. So I was all eager as fuck to snap it up, and this was launch day for it. So I got it, and I had credit card and everything, and got back and started fiddling with it. And she came in and was trying to talk to me, and she was getting her room then, and she said, well, I don't need a couple of things. You want this barbecue? And this is the barbecue that I had at the camp later. The propane stove, it's all gone now, but there used to be videos about that. I mean, when the barbecue out of my camp, she's the one that gave me that shit. And I was all distracted and kept fiddling with the menus and entering my credit card and stuff. Like I wanted to get it set to download because it would take an hour or 3 to download, and she couldn't stop flirting with me. Mostly I get the impression because I was ignoring her. Like I was truly busy with something. I was focusing on, like, I'll be with you in a minute. But I was interested in something else, and I clearly caused, like, triggered her response to try to cling to me, but was honestly busy with something. And I made a note, like, I noticed it was happening, but this was real. It was my chance to play zombies again. Yeah, it was definitely post-accident during the time of the camp at the generator. The office where I had the first dog, so that's where I first played zombies and Call of Duty for the first time and all that. But I'll never forget that they bitch and moan about rules and we gotta fuck you over because that's what the rules say. People say that all the time. Like, hey, the rules say you're fucked, you're fucked. Well, she was fucked. But they bent the rules to get her taken care of. And they could do that for anyone. But they never really do. But it's kind of a protective thing. It was a little scrawny girl and they didn't want to leave her out in the streets in the ghetto overnight, which would be dangerous. Like, really, really fucking dangerous, actually. If she didn't know the area, and who knows how... I think she was hood, but... Yeah, she was an experienced poor person, but... They bent the rules just because. Now, people look at a big ugly fucker like me, and they're not nearly as likely to bend the rules. but sometimes they do. So I run my mouth and try to get that hookup. But you will be surprised. I'll never forget that. Just how the oddity of the situation. Well, I literally slept in the bed with a girl, a stranger. And the first night I was so tired and blown out. I didn't feel like trying anything. The second night I was nervous. And then the third day, she didn't stay the third night, was when she moved her stuff out and moved it into another room. And she invited me to come down there and talk, holler at me whenever you want. But I got the Xbox set up and I got the zombies working. I sat there and played it. I was used to being homeless at the time. And I get to enjoy a couple of weeks of hotel life, and then back to the tent. But being aloof and ignoring her drove her crazy and made her want me and give me free shit. And I know it, and I intellectually know things like that, a lot of things like that about the world now, but I just can't act on them because I am too fucking retarded. I can't control it. I'm really retarded. It's not a joke. But I know shit like that. I know I know how to pick up bitches. I don't talk about that one very often, but I have one of the reasons I'm always so slovenly and never put myself together is because I don't want to attract attention and get into trouble. I'm incorrigible. But I know how to pick up women. I'm actually pretty good at it. But the problem is, the trick I know is just playing on their emotions. Facial tells. I see micro expressions sometimes in people, and if I can catch you having a positive or negative micro expression, it can give me a lot of data on you. And I can be abrupt, crude, rude, and in 20 seconds ask a girl if she wants to smash and get a read, and I'll know. And if you're just cold as shit, and the second you understand the girl isn't into you, stop talking and keep walking. It's cold as shit, but it doesn't take nearly as many as you would think. 20 at the most. Less, usually. You'd be shocked. But when you catch them having a little micro expression and having an emotional response to you asking her if she wants dick, all you're doing is playing on her emotions in a primal response. There's nothing else there. So, good luck with that. It's like throwing a match in a pile of straw. Good luck with that. Results vary, but the positive is not really one of the options. Something's gonna... It's bad. Playing on a girl's emotions to get some pussy typically ends in disaster. Sometimes shit literally being on fire. I lay low to keep myself out of trouble. I almost did it this past year when I had that apartment. There was several times that I almost got myself into trouble. But I'm just too old and tired now. And I don't know if my tricks would work anymore. I sensed when my time was out and gave up when the getting was good. I miss being skinny though. I was only skinny and attractive for about 3 or 4 years of my entire life. 2009, 10, 11, 12. 13 I hit with a car. And I guess probably for 2 more years after that. It took me a minute to fall apart. But the security dude at the executive in suites, he was a dick, and frequently a dick to me, but then bent the rules for her just because whatever. And I can't really criticize. She would be in more danger than me on the streets, but I wouldn't be safe on those streets. No, white boy. Oh wait, hold on. That's the same damn area. The one time I got mugged in Los Angeles was that on El Segundo, about 2 miles west. On Sunday, the bus doesn't run in El Segundo, and I didn't know that. And I waited and waited and waited for like an hour, and then figured that out, or someone told me, and walked, and I got mugged walking past one of the trailer parks in El Segundo. Look, a mile or mile and a half west of Vermont. And I was walking back to that same hotel. This is a different time. This is a year and a half, 2 years before the time I'm talking about. But that was just the GR Hotel, right? It's within walking distance of the DPSS in Gardena, which is one of the nicest DPSSs you can go to, by the way. If anyone, don't go to the Compton one. I did go to the Compton one later, but that's because I was homeless in that area. But the Gardena one's way nicer. And I'm kind of famous there. They all know me. You can guess why. Completely separate from these stories, but just going off on the security and shit. I'm like the only white boy you'll ever meet that's famous in South Central LA. And I'm so famous, and I'm not talking about the YouTube shit here at all. Some of this, what I'm talking about right now, predates the YouTube. This one specifically. There's a YMCA on Century in Vermont. It's one of the problem ones from the service dog era. And they've been mean to me before. But I work out there sometimes, a handful of times. And when I get my blood worked up, I tend to beat myself a lot more. Well, hit the gym, then went out and got on the bus to go back south to go, like, Century is 100th Street, Vermont 100th Street is where the YMCA is, and 120th or 25th or something like that is where the switch over to Gardena buses are. So I was busing down that way, and I was beating myself because I had my blood worked up from a hard workout and shit. And I don't think anything of this. That's just an any given Tuesday for me. But months or even years, I don't remember which, later, I'm in jail in LA County, and a random dude, they were bitching and moaning at me in the pod for beating on myself, and I'm telling them, dude, I'm just like that, fuck off. And some random stranger that I don't know says, yeah, I've seen you beat yourself on the bus down on Century. Just I happened to end up months later in jail with a stranger on the bus in the central grid section of South LA, like from the movies, that big huge grid section of LA, the South Central. A stranger just ended up next to me in jail. I'm like, I've seen you spazzing, nigga. I don't know who this is, but he described the area, and I knew it real well. I'm like, oh fuck, yes, I was leaving the gym. Yeah, so yeah, it probably was. There's a lot of crazy shit like that in my life. I used to be wild as fuck, you know. Used to party. Used to chase bitches. Used to cause trouble. Then I settled down with my little dog. And then they took the dog and I declared vendetta. And then the part that now you all come in. But you never saw the wild stuff. You've never seen me. You've seen flashes of it, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking about the hookers and but not much. Not what I used to be. You don't want to see me turn up. It gets scary pretty fast. There is no off switch. I just know where the volume knob is. That was a good one, though. Like, she was clearly into me, and I was distracted by a video game. Which is another sign of my age, and the lack of testosterone, I guess, from the injury was setting in by then. That must have been 2015-ish, 14 or 15. 14. 2014, it would have had to be. I was pre-Richard. Pre-YouTube. I hit with a car in 2013. Oh well. I just figured I'd make something for this. For some reason, I don't know why, but that story occurred to me yesterday, and I was thinking about it for some reason. Maybe because I was playing zombies. Yeah, I think that's what it was last night. I was thinking about, I once pretty much passed on pussy to play some zombies. I'm grateful for this. Who knows, maybe she'll see this someday. If she does, she'll know. Like, everything I'm saying is dead on true. And thank you for the barbecue. Like that, it turned out to work really well. That's when I ate so well that I ended up with gout. I guess she got her revenge on me for ignoring her anyway, but that was those days. I got in the habit of eating steak every night. The barbecue was fucking awesome. Just to take a can of peas and just open it and set it in the corner of the grill and let it heat while I'm cooking the meat. Oh, well. Enough of my ugly mug. If I shoot stories like this, vlogs like this, I should not use my face. That's like the least appetizing thing to go with the content. I just don't give enough of a fuck.